Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. This is day 2, and I am here with our second interview, our second speaker of the day. You will not be disappointed, Carla Gardiner. So let me tell you a little bit about Carla and why you have to listen to this interview until the end. This woman is a proud wife, a mom, and a grandma to 8 amazing grandkids. I kind of secretly can't wait for the day that I can say that. After decades in MLM and network marketing, she hit a wall. Despite following all of the rules, she was still broke and burnt out. And I know that many of us can absolutely resonate with this already. Then she reached out to chat with a friend, and that friend was asking her 4 simple questions that changed everything. And during that conversation, Carla realized the answers were within her all along. Wow. She dove into email and affiliate marketing, and in less than 1 year has made more money than her entire stint in MLM and network marketing. She is the definition of someone who is living her dream lifestyle while building her business in just 2 hours a day. And she's here today, not only as a compilation part of the book, but in this summit to inspire you, those of us who are overwhelmed by social media, who are overwhelmed by financial stress, and just find your path to that dream lifestyle. And Carla, not to be too cliche, but that's exactly why we call this life by design, isn't it? It's possible.
It
What a
is.
story. What a story. Congratulations to you. And I can tell you right now that there are going to be so many listeners who are leaning in intently going, how? Right? How? So my question for you is, what caused you to hit that wall?
You know, part of it was me. Excuse me. I'm a workaholic, an overachiever, perfectionist, none of which is recipe for success. It's
Right.
crash and burn for sure.
Yes.
But I wanted it so bad that I was willing to push through whatever I had to do. I
Mhm.
work a full time 8 to 5 job. I have another full time business. And so I was trying to build everything and learn and implement after hours. So I'm already burned out from the day. And then to put that extra pressure on myself. And I was doing everything I had been led to believe were the right things, using the right tools, hiring all the coaches, uh, following their footsteps. And then one day, literally, it was like the rug was pulled out from under me. I couldn't even step foot in this office. I don't know if you've ever, but I tell this story about going camping one time. And we got up very, very early before the sun came up to get the raft ready to go out on the lake to go fishing. And I'm not a morning person. And it takes me a while to wake up. And I got in the middle of that lake in that tiny little boat. And I felt like that lake was going to just swallow me and pull me down. I had a full on panic attack in this little rubber boat.
Wow.
That's how I felt. I felt like social media, I didn't want to do people. I was done with people, family included. And I just didn't turn on the computer, turned off the phones, and literally sat on the couch for a month.
I cannot tell you how much I resonate with this. I too have been there several times. And I think this is the amazing thing about your transparency and that just you really truly being authentic here is there are more people than willing to admit that have been in the same exact position. So I commend you for bringing this transparency to the conversation. And I want to know, because guys, if you've been through this, it's not a surprise, right? You're shaking your head at Carla going, oh girl, I feel you. Yes, that was me too. If you have never experienced this, lean in and listen, because you have those red flag system, those warning signs. And what Carla is sharing with you today is going to help you, if you have never gone through this, hopefully prevent you and give you those warning signs of what to look for. So Carla, I kind of need to know, how did it feel as you were going through this downtime, this new space?
So the surprising and scary part was I didn't feel anything. And I don't know if you've ever felt that, but it's a weird space to be in. Um, my husband was really worried, and he doesn't worry about me, but he said, aren't you going to work today? I said, no. And I'm never short on words, trust me. But I didn't even talk to him. It was like yes or no. And it's because I didn't know how I was feeling. I was just dead. And I didn't care about anybody, anything. He said, well, what about your trucks? What about your customers? Don't care. And he said, what? And he said, what's wrong? Don't know. And I wasn't being smart. It was true. I just didn't feel anything. And that's a scary place to be in.
I know. I've been there. And as I'm hearing your story, I can actually feel the muscle memory remind me of that space. And literally word for word, what you've said is how I felt as well. And that's why I know for a fact it's not just the two of us. It's not. And there needs to be more conversations around this. I remember one time going into a coaching session with my coach, and I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to touch this computer. I don't want to be in this office. I want everyone to leave me the heck alone. And he looked at me and he said, Kim, what do you want? And I said, I want to go lay on that couch and watch Hallmark and be left alone. Leave me alone. And he
Yes,
said, yeah,
yes.
right. Just leave me. And
Yes.
it's that numb black space where you're just heavy and you just don't care. Even though you care, you just don't care. And I remember him saying to me, listen, give yourself grace. If you feel like you need to be in a bubble bath with a glass of wine in the middle of the afternoon, listen to your soul and give yourself that space. And I thought to myself, even that's not enough. So knowing what the space feels like, going through what you were going through, was there any one thing in particular that got you out of this, what I dare call almost like a depression, if you will?
It was toward the end of that month of just doing nothing. Um, I just felt drawn to message my friend. I just needed a friend, someone. I didn't want advice. I didn't want my coach to tell me, buck up, buttercup, and just push through it. I was done with all of that. And I had had some coaches that they actually asked me the questions my friend asked me, same identical questions, but there was a huge difference. I felt I couldn't answer them honestly because I was waiting for what they were going to sell me. I felt it as if you were reaching through this monitor and just pulling me in. And I was resistant to it all the way. Now, my friend, when she was asking me these questions, there was no ulterior motive. She was just my friend. And she was asking the questions so that she could understand personally and how to reply to me, not how to sell me. Does that,
Mm.
I mean, that's how I felt. And I just needed a friend. That was what got me up and out. And her questions weren't anything out of the ordinary, but she had a way of not moving on until I answered. She said, "No, that's not the answer. Dig deeper." And I hated it. And I and I pushed back on her, but she made me be honest with me.
Oh,
It was rough. It was rough, and I cried. We cried together.
of
It's
course.
what I needed. It's what I needed.
It's
And then all sorts of light bulbs started going off. And I knew what I wanted to do the first time in 40 years. The first time.
this this is amazing. And there's so much to unpack here. First, when you said you didn't want to reach out because you didn't want to be sold. Holy crap. How many of us really truly be real with yourself right now can appreciate that comment right there alone? I know as capable, strong, independent women, we know what to do. We can take care of ourselves. And when we feel the glimpse and the ability to be transparent with people, whether it's through a social media post or through writing an email and just letting people know where you're at, all the fixers want to come in and swoop in and be like, oh, you need self-care. I'm doing self-care. Don't tell me what I need, right? And Carla, you're not only in that space, but it's like that prevents us from wanting to be honest and real. And that's part of the problem. Not only is it part of the stigma, but it's part of the real, genuine problem that these fixers want to swoop in. And that's not what we need right now, right? In this particular moment. And thank God for your friend who is stubborn and knew enough to be like, no. And I feel the resistance of you where you're at, like, oh, and you have to go through it. We never say over it. We never say under it. It is, pardon my language, to go through it. And it's the only way. And I'm so glad you did, because look where you are now. You are able to stand proudly and strongly and share, because we learn in reflection. We never learn in the moment. And you are the exact person that can help these humans, our friends listening, close that gap from where they are to where they want to be. And so um, this was your pivot. This was your pivot. You're pivoting now. So what can our friends do? What can our listeners do for them if they're like, oh my gosh, she's got me in the gut. I feel this, I live this, I've been here, I am here. What can they do to pivot to?
Well, I actually wrote down and made a little free PDF for them where they don't even, they can self evaluate with these questions. And then if they want to go deeper, I'm offering a free consultation just to be the years that my friend was for me. And I have nothing to sell, nothing. But what my friend also did was to open my eyes and my heart, because I was hardcore MLM for 20 years, failing the whole 20 years. But I'm stubborn and I knew it could work, but it wasn't the business model for me. But I had been trained so well that I had to get that out of my head. And like going through the weeds in the field, you have to part the weeds to be able to see the next step. And that's what she did for me. And that's what I'd like to do for anybody who is just there.
Wow. What a great analogy. Friends, listen, that the link to that PDF is literally right below this video. Not yet, because I want you to hear this next piece, but when we're done here, click that link. Go to her link tree, go grab that download. But I want to tell you what's so very special about this call. And Carla, I think you'll agree with me that when you're in this space, there's really nobody, like you said, you didn't even want to talk to your husband. I was the same way. He's my best friend. He is my partner, but I was just like, just leave me alone. However, when you know someone has been through an exact or a very similar situation, they've been through the pain, they know what you're going through, that's your lifeline. That's the person that you want to talk to, and you are that person. So the fact that time is our most precious commodity, and you're giving that to our listeners is beautiful and precious and needs to be cherished. So friends, I'm asking you, take her up on that phone call. Seriously. Because I know in your moment, when your friend was doing that, you didn't want it. You didn't want to participate, but you did. And look what happened. It was what you needed.
Yeah.
And for me, very similar situation. It's beautiful, Carla.
Thank you.
I thank you for your contribution to the book, but also for the time and the space that you gave us today for this discussion, because I know it's not easy, but and it's necessary, you know. So the link is below. Grab that. Did we forget anything? I mean, I keep saying every time I interview the next speaker, this is my favorite. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. And right now in this moment, this is my favorite. I don't want to stop talking to you. So is there anything that you want to leave our friends with, or something that I may have forgotten?
You know, besides social media, besides my own decades of failure, I think the reason I didn't want to have a conversation with anybody was out of fear of what I would discover. I was afraid they were going to say, it's over. Just call it quits, graciously bow out, and enjoy retirement. Enjoy those grandkids. But I knew I didn't want to hear that, number one. And I didn't think my friend would ever in 10 million years tell me that. And I knew there were answers. I just needed somebody to like give me a hand up, help me up that first step. I'm down here in the muck and my rubber boots are stuck and I can't pull up myself. And she helped me do that. And she gets really embarrassed when I talk about how important it was what she did. But I'm telling you, I probably would have drowned in that black mire if the hand wasn't offered up. And so don't be afraid. Don't do what I almost did. don't give up because you're worth it.
Wow. There you have it, my friends. And, one last time, Carla, thank you for creating a safe space, because that's what this is. And when we're in that environment and in that mindset, in that space, that's what we need. We need a safe space. So thank you for being that for people. And I need to have an encore. So I'm not done with you, even though this particular conversation is a wrap. Be on the lookout, because there's going to be more coming from Carla to continue this conversation. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next interview. Thank you, Carla.